Hello everyone, this is Faith at Faith&books. How are you doing? So I have to make a very quick video because I need to get to church this morning, I think. Even though it's been a really wacko week. My husband, the night of our anniversary, when we were out, he was starting to come down with something. He was really sick. He has been flat on his back for a solid week now. It is now Sunday morning. So, and maybe he's better. He says he feels better today. But he's felt better over the course of the week, and then it's come back with a vengeance. So he's sick, but it's not COVID. But this morning, I woke up to a text message from my oldest daughter saying that she has COVID. I just watched their kids Friday night. When I left Friday, I gave her a hug. And then the next day, she came down with COVID. So I just took a test, and it was negative. So I don't feel sick, although I'm drinking lemon ginger tea. I mean, the weather's kind of raw, so, you know, I often have like a scratchy throat or whatever if the weather's raw. Anyway, so, you know, if you're a praying person, could you pray for our health? As we seem to be catching every kind of bug that comes by. I'm trying so hard too. I mean, I've been doing elderberry syrup and things like that. I'm trying to eat healthy just so I can, you know, so I can fight off all the germs that come my way all the time being around young children. So anyway, so this is going to be a brief review of the 4 books that I finished since last time I talked about books. My last video was about the Advent read-along. So I don't have the books to hold up. So I'll just talk about them really quickly. I read, the first book I finished was Ordeal by Innocence by Agatha Christie. I would say it was a middling Agatha Christie. Sometimes I think she's really brilliant. Other times she doesn't impress me that much. The second half of this book was better than the first half. I did not guess who did it, but I'm terrible at guessing who did it. So that doesn't really say much. And the very end of it was weird. I was like, what? I thought it was a strange ending, but you know, I'm glad I got another Agatha Christie under my belt. I'm slowly reading more and more of her work. Then the next one was the Victober read-along, The Way We Live Now by Anthony Trollope. And it never was a page-turner for me. I always had to sort of force myself to pick it up and read it. Once I was reading it, most of the time, I kind of sunk into the story. But sometimes it was a slog. And I never felt more than mildly interested in the characters. It is a complicated plot, and so there's a lot of parallels going on between the different characters' situations. There's a lot of love triangles. So it is an intricate plot, and you could really talk about that. But it just wasn't one of my favorite Anthony Trollopes. However, it's my 15th Anthony Trollope, and I'm pretty proud of the fact that I've read 15 Anthony Trollopes. So I think, because I'm now the keeper of my mother's collection of Anthony Trollopes, I think I'm going to have a goal from now until next December, or, you know, December 31st of 2024, that I'm going to try and read 5 more Trollopes. A number of the Trollopes that I have from my mother are shorter ones. So I think that's doable. So I am going to try to read more Trollope. I want to read at least 5 between now and next year, you know, next December. So yeah, we're in November, right? Yeah, I'm going to talk about November. So that was The Way We Live Now. And then this was a fun one. I read The Bungalow Mystery, the next Nancy Drew. And we're not discussing this in the Voxer group until tomorrow, the 13th. I read it earlier this week, and it's just a nice escape. You know, it's just a fun, fluffy mystery story, but it's very nostalgic for old, you know, old manners and old clothing and old customs and vintage stuff. And I love the mid-century stuff. I really do. And so just everything about it, the aesthetic about it is really, really fun. And this one didn't talk so much. It wasn't the food that grabbed me, but a couple of stylistic things. Like in one of the characters had a pink and white kitchen. And so I looked up vintage pink and white kitchens from the 50s, and they're wonderful. And then they mentioned a chair, a Duncan Fife chair. I had never heard of this, and so I looked it up, and they're these really charming, old-fashioned, kind of Victorian-looking chairs. So that was a neat thing. So it was about decor this time. That was really nostalgic for me. So I enjoyed that a lot. And the next one, I guess that we're reading in December, I'm not sure, because Mitzi, who's hosting the read-along, Mitzi at Mitzi Reads and Writes, she hasn't announced what's going on for December, but I'm assuming if we're following the order and if we aren't making December an exception because of Christmas, the next one is The Mystery at Lilac Inn. So I'm keeping thrift books in business by buying these Nancy Drew books from them. And then let's see, and then I just finished this last night. I finished my Hornblower, Admiral Hornblower in the West Indies. Let me take a sip of tea here. It's got that nice bite to it because of the ginger. This is more like 4 short stories about him when he's an admiral stationed in the West Indies. So this is after Bonaparte. And the first story, I knew what was going to happen. I knew what the clincher was going to be at the end. So it was felt a little bit too canned. And the last story, I just never have got on with his relationship with Barbara, his wife. I don't think Forster writes romance well, and I just never understood their relationship. And it really was about that, and I just thought it felt artificial to me. But the 2 stories in the middle, I enjoyed more. I had more fun with. So it was fun. It was a fun book. And now I only have one more book in the series, Hornblower During the Crisis, to read, and then I have completed all the Hornblowers. So that's pretty exciting. And then in the meantime, and I forgot, I'm doing this in such a hurry, I forgot to bring the books and stuff. But I'm still working on Little Dorrit. I'm in the middle of chapter 24. I'm listening to it, but I really was starting to falter, and I couldn't remember characters. I couldn't remember who Daniel Doyce was. It's like, did I get introduced to this character? When did that happen? Anyway, so I had to go back and kind of read physically to figure out where I was and what was going on. So I'm committing myself this week, God willing, if I don't come down with, even if I do come down with COVID, I can listen to it. I'm going to try and do a chapter a week. I'm going to see if I can just get some momentum going on this. Because the thing is, I really enjoy it when I'm reading it and when I'm listening to it. I've mostly been listening to it. I'm really enjoying it a lot. So I don't want to just let it get, lost by the wayside. I want to keep on it. So I want to keep that momentum up. So I'm going to try and do a chapter a day for this. And then yesterday I participated, well, I didn't really, but I just got on very briefly for 2 reading sprints. One was for I meant to bring my Kindle with me to show you, The World at War. No, it's called World War November. Yeah. And I think it's hosted by a bunch of people. And I think Christie Lewis was hosting the reading sprint. I don't really do reading sprints, but I just got on to see what they were doing. And the book that I am reading that I got on my Kindle for a steep discount on Book Gorilla, and it just happens to be a topic I'm very interested in right now. It's called The Peace to End All Peace. And I think the author's name is David Fromkin, something like that. And it's about the Middle East. And it focuses on the year 1914 to 1922 and how those years were critical to laying the landscape for even what is happening today, all the things that are going on today. So it definitely talks about World War I and the impact it has on this particular area of the world, and how Jordan and Syria, all these countries came to be. because they didn't exist beforehand. They were all just part of the Ottoman Turk Empire. And so I started reading that. And that's the book. That book is for World War November. It's also nonfiction November, and it's also good for Historathon. So I'm reading that. And then I also, yesterday, just got on very briefly for the reading sprints for rating Project Gutenberg, which Christie Lewis at Dostoevsky in Space is also hosting, and a couple other people as well. But I need to go really fast, so I can't remember them that quickly. And it took me forever, and I had to get my son to finally do it. But I finally downloaded something from Project Gutenberg, and I started reading Poor Folk by Dostoevsky last night. So, and it's very interesting. It's epistolatory, and I have no idea what it's about. No idea. But I'm on the third letter so far into the book, and I'm enjoying it. It's interesting. So those are the books I'm reading. Oh, and I forgot the other book too. I forgot everything. And I'm reading Thomas Merton's Seven Storey Mountain. So Seven Storey Mountain and Poor Folk are going to be my nighttime reads. Little Dorrit is my audio read. And then, what's the other one I'm reading? Oh, the Peace to End All Peace. Ironic title. I'm going to read during the day when I get a chance to read. So when the little pockets of time when you have a chance to read. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing. Now, I'm attaching to this a little bit of vlogging that I did, because I got really, it was a bad week. I needed to do something to cheer myself up. And I saw this video of a Christian homemaker. She's very, very popular. And she's always trying to, I think the title of it was, I don't want to say who it was or anything, because I don't want to malign her. She's probably lovely, but she just hit me the wrong way. She's talking about, when the holiday season overwhelms you. Okay, so first off, the holiday season always overwhelms me. And one reason is that my house is a mess, and I need to get it clean because I'm hosting Thanksgiving. And then for my big extended family, I'm hosting a New Year's Day party where we're doing on 1944's Christmas. That's the theme, because that was the year my parents got married. So I'm pretty overwhelmed by all of this, and I have a really, really messy house. Well, she's like, well, I'm going to clean for the holidays, and she's standing in her absolutely immaculate house. Like, you're not relatable, lady. You're from a different planet. My house truly is a mess, and I truly am overwhelmed. And you're not helping by saying, oh, I have to clean my already immaculate house. So that wasn't relatable. But also, she's telling us not to get overwhelmed by the holiday season, but it's November 9th, and she's talking about, putting up her perfect Christmas tree and all that stuff. So I really hate it when people push time. I'm 63. I feel like time is just racing by. I want to enjoy the fall. I want to enjoy November. I like November. Oh, people are coming. They're walking. I like November. And so I have so many things going on in November, like my wedding anniversary. There's so many birthdays. There's so many things that I've been doing every year for like the last 23 years. Like my church has a big Thanksgiving clothing drive, and I always try to clean up my closets in November. There's just so many things. Plus, Thanksgiving. And I just want to slow down and enjoy the month of November. I don't want to rush into Christmas. Now, granted, you do have to do some Christmas shopping and that sort of thing. Yeah, I get that. You're preparing. But I don't want to decorate. I want to stay fall. I want the fall to be fall until it's winter time. And then I can do the winter things. And I just resent it so much. I really do. I just feel like people are so pushy. So anyway, so the remaining stuff are just a tiny little bit of vlogging I did in homage to November. Okay, so I better run. I've already taken too long. So I hope this made sense. And I hope that you're doing well, and happy reading. Bye. Look at this beautiful tablecloth my oldest daughter, my adopted daughter, gave me. She just brought it in a couple weeks ago. And I don't know what made her buy it or where she got it from or anything, but she just handed it to me and said, you might want this. And so I put it aside, and then I just cleared off the table because it was full of books and stuff. and put it on. Isn't it beautiful? I can't wait for Thanksgiving to use it. So I actually bought this wreath. I don't usually have a wreath for the fall. I used to hang Indian corn. I don't know if that's PC to call it that. And I still have some. I maybe should do something with that. But I just was inspired by these homemaking YouTubers. And so I went out and got this at Michael's. I kind of liked it. And so this has been hanging up since the end of September. I think one of the flowers fell off. So it's a little bare down at the bottom there. One of the white flowers. But still, I'm kind of pleased with it. I kind of like its look. So it's November 9th. And looking at this little garden, this is my pollinator plant garden. And everything's died except, let me walk over here. I think it still looks pretty. It looks like dried flowers to me. There's something so attractive about it. But over here, look at this. I have this winterberry growing. So that is supposed to feed the birds during the winter. So I'm kind of pleased about that. And here's Mr. Turkey. We put him out right after we took in the Halloween decorations. So there he is, waiting for Turkey Day. So I thought I was gonna get a huge sweet potato harvest because I had 2 beds that had really good growth. And first of all, these are not my favorite kind of sweet potatoes. So I'm trying to remember last time. I think they were out of the orange kind, and so I just got this white purple. Or maybe these are the ones that were successful and the other ones died. I cannot remember what I did, but I like the regular old orange sweet potatoes. So anyway, this is all I could harvest for now. There's probably more in there, but look, I kept accidentally breaking it, even though I was trying really hard not to. You're not supposed to do that. Those are my chickens, I have to feed them. So I'm really disappointed because I was thinking November is when I harvest it. Last year I harvested enough that we used it for our Thanksgiving dinner and then also another couple of meals. So I was really looking forward to having even more, and so I'm kind of disappointed. But anyway, November is when I harvest my sweet potatoes, and I might have more than this. That my back started hurting, so I just couldn't keep digging into the dirt. But yeah, so I'm trying to remind myself that next year what I want to do with my garden is limit myself to crops, like high value crops that will grow a lot in raised beds, and just learn to be really good at them. I think my grandson's up, or no, that's the dog. Anyway, so that's what I'm going to try and focus on. So remind me of that when I start planning for my garden, that I want to simplify and do high value, high productivity, but fewer crops rather, so that I can get really good at growing them and, really figure out what they need to grow best, to be, to get the most yield. So look what I did. I made homemade granola. I used to do this a lot more. Haven't for ages. As you can see, people have been snitching. I'm about to put it in a big glass jar. But it's so easy to do. It's just, I got gluten-free rolled oats. This has walnuts, chopped walnuts, and you can see the pepitas, the pumpkin seeds. And, one thing I have to add to it. Oh yeah, I'll take another shot of it after I add it, because I dehydrated our own sour cherries that we harvested from our backyard, and I'm going to add that in too. So really yummy. You just make it with coconut oil, maple syrup, some cinnamon, some salt. I didn't have vanilla extract. I had orange. Put a little bit of that in, and I think that's it. And maple syrup. It's sweetened with maple syrup. So yeah, I'm really pleased with myself. It's absolutely delicious. So I'm going to chop up this about a half a cup of dehydrated cherries, sour cherries, and add them in to the mix. So yeah, I'm so pleased that at least one thing is homemade, homegrown. So yeah, so I feel when November rolls around, I like to cook more. So I also want to make some gluten-free pumpkin bread this weekend. This is the first relaxing weekend I've had in several weekends, so I'm pretty excited about that. Just being able to do my own thing and putter around and be all, homemaking and that sort of thing.